Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 6 of our podcast series, Introducing New Artists, Conversations with Visual Arts Majors at UCSD. I'm Professor Amy Adler, faculty member in the Visual Arts Department here at UC San Diego. In this series, I'm speaking with studio art honors students about their artistic evolution, their creative processes, and the unique challenges facing emerging artists today. I'm particularly interested in understanding how our students navigate the complexities of developing their artistic voices while preparing to launch their careers in an ever-changing professional, political, and personal landscape. Today, I'm joined by Trish Stockton, a senior in our honors program, whose ceramic and glass work explores the fragility and resilience of the human experience. Through her sculptural practice, Trish connects personal emotions with broader social issues, creating work that invites viewers to reflect on our shared humanity and relationship to global challenges. I am also joined by 12 other students from the Studio Art Honors class of 2025. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Let's try that again. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Okay. It's been a long day. Okay, so we're excited to learn more about Trish's artistic evolution during her time at UCSD and hear her perspectives on what it means to be an emerging artist in 2025. So let's begin our conversation. Greetings, Trish.
Hello, Professor Adler.
Hello. Could you start by introducing yourself to our listeners?
Yeah, my name is Trish Stockton. I'm 61, and I'm finally graduating after 40 years of school on
Yay.
and off.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and your background. When did you decide you wanted to be an artist? What are some key experiences in your life that led you here all the way to being a senior in the UCSD Studio Art Honors Program?
Well, reflecting on it as a child, my father would bring me a lot of different things home, like statuary, paint-by-number kits, art kits, and so I was kind of involved early on with art. And then as I got older, I continued it in high school. And then I started college, and I was going to do some different things, such as face painting and just different modes of art. And then I got a little bit in arguments with my father, and so I joined the military. And went in the Navy because I wanted to be close to water. And I have always been in and out of art, though. Like even while in the Navy, when I was in the Philippines, I designed a parade float for the Navy base connection with Olongapo. And then when I was out of the military, I just did so many things, from aerospace operations analyst to I owned my own PI firm as a qualified manager for 30 years, casting director. There's just so many jobs I've had in my life, and they've always flowed in and out of art. And then as I got older, I had a total of 3 children, and my 2 younger children are LGBTQAI+, somewhere in there. And so I designed a float for the Pride Parade for the transgender youth, and that was pretty fun. And then COVID hit. Right before COVID, I was referred by the VA to do art therapy at Veterans Art Project, which is in Vista. And that's where I started back with ceramics. And I just fell in love. So after kind of floating around, I thought, why don't I go back to school? I've had school on and off, but I never took it too serious. And so I went to Southwestern College and decided art's my thing. I love art. I love ceramics. And I love sculpture. So I wanted to learn about it. I felt if I wanted to be an artist, I needed to learn color theory. I needed to learn so much. And because I've always in my past, I was sort of on-the-job training for everything I did. Couldn't really do that with me in art. So I did great at Southwestern, got my associates in studio art and art history, and I got their top award, Student of Distinction. And I was awarded the Chancellor's Scholarship to come to UCSD, and so that's why I transferred. And I love UCSD, and I have really explored a lot of concepts to art that I don't think I could have at another college. I still, Veterans Art Project, their fiscal sponsor is Social and Environmental Entrepreneurs. SaveThePlanet.org is their website. They hired me. So I've been working to help other veterans overcome PTSD through art, connect veterans through the community by having art classes free in the parks, and been working not only on doing this with ceramics, but also with this class, the Studio Honors, and that brought me here and I'll be graduating with my bachelor's in visual arts studio.
That's amazing. What a concise way to explain a very, rich life. Thank you for that. Yeah, so let's talk about your current work and what you're working on right now. I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, so you're talking here, right?
Yeah. You can just talk about your overall work and bring us to what you're working on now.
Okay. So my specialty is ceramics, and I usually like the concept of preserving the earth, specifically the oceans, our environment, and also socially, I do have a certain way of bringing my project to a current event or current issue that's going on, especially when it comes to LGBT rights, women's rights, what have you. So right now I'm working on, I made about 25 big fish, and they're about 16 inches long. And they'll be swimming up and around the end cap of one of our false walls, going toward Lady Liberty and freedom, swimming away from the red fish that are down below, chasing them.
That's going to be very exciting. Can't wait to see it. You talked a little bit about how you first connected with ceramics, but what continues to draw you to it? What do you love about ceramics?
There's so many different things to do with ceramics. You can do art. You can make something like a cup that you use every day. You can pass that cup down to your grandchildren because it lasts long. It has different clay shrinks at different stages, and everything from firing to glazing, maybe raku, whatever you're doing with clay, it comes out different. You can't. There's a lot of happy accidents. There's a lot of sad accidents. You can't just quickly paint it over like you can with acrylic paints. And like the fish I'm doing, they're all different colored fish, which shows that we are all different. And it's our differences that are beautiful, but our differences are what are being attacked right now. And some of the fish I've rakued, they've broken, and I've put them back together with a Japanese gold method to repair them. And it just with ceramics, you can break them and you can glue them back together, just like life, mental illness. I'm a disabled veteran, and I've been put back together through art history. When I go in, I start making something out of clay. I think about all the hardships I've had. My husband passed away last year. One of my best friends, my husband was an artist, Timothy Stockton. One of my best friends, Hyacinth Cutler Barron, was an artist. And it's been a really hard year for that, or 6 months, should I say. I will start doing a clay project. I'll sit on the wheel, and no kidding, all of a sudden I'll just have to pay attention to what I'm doing. And I don't think about these sadness things. And it's almost like my brain is really reconnecting with the happy neurons, I guess. And sometimes I'll finish my project and I'll think, oh my gosh, I never even thought about Tim once, or never thought about, issue of what I'm going to do next. It's just all I had to do with art. It was just, every time I do that, it's just so fulfilling.
It seems like ceramics, one of its qualities too, is that it's generous with people that know very little about it and generous with people that know a lot about it. Right?
That's true.
And it really spans a lot of different types of approaches, like you said. I should also mention that we're joined by the lovely Jaja, who is your support dog.
She's actually an emotional support animal, but she is a service animal.
Service animal, right.
And she's a French bulldog, and she is 2 years old, and she comes to all my classes with me.
And she is ridiculously cute and sweet.
She's amazing.
Everybody loves Jaja.
The kids on campus love it, because I know probably about 90% of these kids are here and have had to leave their dogs or cats at home. So they really appreciate being able to pet an animal, even if it's just they just thank me, even if it's just for a second.
It's not just kids. I appreciate it too, and want to pet Jaja all the time. So thank you for bringing Jaja around into our environment.
She broke one of my fish the other day. I was so mad at her. She stepped on it.
Yeah, so a couple questions. So you talk about in your work combining personal emotion with social commentary. So how do you find that balance between expressing your individual feelings and speaking to larger collective experiences?
Well, I start on something, and all I can say is, for instance, I decided that I needed to make a big blow-up appreciation ribbon, and I painted it red, white, and silver, and put a big sign on it that said "No Kings." It's something that I felt strongly about, that I think that we need to preserve our democracy. We can't have one person making decisions for both House, both Senate, everybody, influencing too many people, because that's what a democracy is all about. And so because of that, my art really resonated, although it was the bigger social situation. People at the time, actually, I think it was the very next weekend, there was just millions of people out protesting No King, and my art displayed it. I know that arts and politics have always driven each other, and art is very important today. I could see with the current administration taking over the different things of art, I can see, it just kind of reminds me of the degenerate art and how we're told to make art a certain way for national what have you, and get away of all the other real history art that depicts what really happened. It's just kind of sad to me. And so I'm going to keep on going. I'm not going to be shut up. And I really applaud the artists that are out there, because it is hard. Because you think, oh, what's going to happen to me if, the men in black see what I'm doing? These days are different. I would have never guessed that I would think about this a couple of years ago, or worry about it. But yeah, it's a concern in today's climate.
Yes, it is. Well said. Does anyone in the room have a question for Trish? Yes, Angela.
What's a new hair color that you'd like to try?
So Angelo is referring to my pink hair today.
Looks really good.
Thank you. So I've had purple, I've had pink. These are my mermaid colors. I guess I've wanted to try silver, but I know it's kind of close to my age since I'm 61. But thank you. I'm glad you like my pink.
Yeah, so I think we we've answered the question about what drives you to create art despite uncertain times. You answered that question really well. What advice would you give to a freshman or sophomore or transfer student just starting out in the visual arts department at UCSD? Any special tips for navigating classes, professors, or resources you wish someone had told you earlier?
Yeah, I think that year one, or actually quarter one when you come here, make sure that your partial IGETSI, if you have that, is certified. Make sure that all your classwork that you've done, because I've, 40 years, I've done, I think, 5 colleges. Took a while to get everything certified, but just make sure everything's complete so that you don't take classes you don't have to. And fight. If you took a class that's very similar to a class that is required, fight. I had a class that was almost exactly with one that was required. And they kept on telling me, no. Finally, I just got every single syllabus that was related to anything to that class, and I got it. So it was just really important to me because that's a class that I didn't want to repeat. I wanted to take something a little bit more advanced. Another thing is, like if you want to do painting, start right away so that you can take, A, B, and C, because not everything is offered. Like the class we're in right now, Studio Honors, this is only offered in winter and spring. So take it in winter in the year you can, because if a transfer student, you only have 2 years, but actually the first year it would be hard because you're not a senior. So make sure that you pay attention in your senior year and get your portfolio ready to submit it if this is what you'd want to do. And this is a great class so that you can develop your body of work or your bodies of work. And you have, we have Professor Adler at our fingertips. That's just that's priceless to an artist.
And you have studio space, which is also amazing.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I put curtains up on mine, and I've got my wheel, so I throw in mine, and it's a big mess, but it's just mine. It's my space.
So great. So last question is, with graduation approaching, congratulations.
Thank you.
You going to walk the walk?
Yeah, I'm going to walk, and Zsa will
Zsa.
also have her cap and gown on, and
Oh,
she'll
really?
be walking with me. Yeah.
So what challenges do you anticipate transitioning from being a student artist to a professional artist, and how are you preparing for this shift in terms of studio space or finding ways to support your practice going forward?
Well, it's funny you should say that. Just yesterday I looked at a 1,200 square foot live workspace downtown and thought about it and thought, God, this would be perfect if it had a garden. What I'm doing is I'm 61, so I need to go somewhere where I am happy and somewhere that has everything that I need. It's really hard with my husband passing away, but I'm living on campus. I have a couple months to decide, and I'm just powering through. And as far as work goes, as I said, Veterans Art Project hired me, and I talked, actually yesterday again, I talked with my boss, and we discussed getting some more grants so that I could switch to more of a more active role in coordinating these grants that are related to art. I'm happy. I've always been an entrepreneur. I love entrepreneurship, but I don't want to lose my art. I've got to do them both side by side.
I recommend to you and to everyone looking into residencies for artists, which are often paid and places to live and work, and also potentially graduate school, which is another option to get deeper and deeper into your practice. And if it's the right situation, it is almost like a part-time job in the sense that you can teach while you're in school, and so you shouldn't have to pay for grad school, is my point. And I really do recommend it, and I hope that you will circle back and talk to me if you want to be applying this to grad school, because I would love to support you, whether it's next year or in 3 years. So thank you, Trish, for this thoughtful conversation today. What I would like to say about your work is how impressed I am of how you've harness the transformative nature of clay to express both vulnerability and strength, creating work that invites viewers to engage with both personal emotions and larger societal issues. Your commitment to sustainable practices while exploring the complex emotional terrain of shared human experience demonstrates the power of art to be both intimate and expansive in its impact. So thank you, Trish.
Thank you.
To our listeners, thank you for joining us for this episode of Introducing New Artists, Conversations with Visual Arts Majors at UCSD. I just want to thank the UCSD Visual Arts Department for making this series possible. So until next time, thank you, everybody.